You wake up tired, you eat reasonably well, you move your body, and still, that stubborn layer of abdominal fat refuses to leave. Here's the uncomfortable truth. The problem was never your discipline, it was never your diet, and it was definitely never your effort. The problem is a hormone running silently in the background, one that your doctor probably hasn't mentioned, and that every calorie-counting app in the world is completely blind to. Japan has one of the lowest obesity rates on the planet, and they eat white rice every single day. Not diet rice, not cauliflower rice, white rice, at almost every meal. So if calories were really the enemy, how do you explain that? In this video, you're going to learn the exact 5-step protocol, grounded in Japanese health science, that resets your cortisol levels across a full 24-hour cycle and forces your body to release visceral fat as fuel. No extreme diets, no punishing workouts, no expensive supplements. By the end of this video, you'll know precisely what to do, starting tomorrow morning. And the strangest part, the hardest step takes less than 60 seconds. You've tried, really tried. You've cut the carbs, logged the calories, dragged yourself to the gym at 6 a.m., and stared down plates of food you didn't want. And yet, the belly is still there, stubborn, unmoved, almost mocking. So here's the question no one is asking you. What if it was never about discipline? What if the real reason your body is holding on to that abdominal fat has nothing to do with how hard you work, and everything to do with something running silently in the background 24 hours a day? Not your diet, not your workout routine, not your willpower. A hormone. One that your body is flooding your system with every single morning, and you don't even know it's happening. That hormone is cortisol. And when it's out of control, it doesn't just make you stressed. It physically locks visceral fat in place. It tells your body that burning fat is dangerous, that storage is survival. And no matter how many reps you do or meals you skip, you can't outtrain a hormonal signal that's working against you every hour of the day. Here's what's actually happening inside your body, and why it's not your fault. Cortisol is your stress hormone. It exists for a reason. To protect you, to fuel you in moments of danger, to keep you alive. But your body doesn't know the difference between a lion chasing you in a deadline, a traffic jam, or 3 hours of bad sleep. Every time your stress rises, mentally, physically, emotionally, cortisol spikes. And when cortisol spikes repeatedly, it triggers a very specific biological response. Your body starts directing fat storage toward the abdominal region, deep inside the belly wall. That's visceral fat. Not the kind you can pinch, the kind that wraps around your organs, the kind that doesn't budge no matter how many crunches you do. Because crunches don't fix hormones. Japanese researchers identified this connection decades ago. While Western medicine was obsessed with calories in and calories out, scientists in Japan were studying something far more revealing. The hormonal environment that decides whether your body is a fat-burning machine or a fat-storing one. They even gave this cycle a name, the invisible belt, the cortisol loop that silently tightens around your midsection, independent of what you eat or how much you move. Western science is only now catching up. But the protocol already exists. Step 1. The morning code. The cortisol awakening response. Within the first 30 minutes of waking up, your brain fires a hormonal signal that sets the metabolic tone for your entire day. It's called the cortisol awakening response, and it's not a flaw. It's a feature. But only if you know how to use it. Here's what happens. Cortisol naturally peaks right after you open your eyes, designed to give you a burst of energy and focus. If you respond to that moment with calm, no phone, no rushing, no immediate stress, your brain reads the environment as safe, and cortisol rises sharply then falls smoothly, unlocking fat-burning mode for hours. But if you grab your phone, scroll through notifications, or launch straight into panic mode, that cortisol spike never fully resolves. It just flatlines at a high level, and your body stays in storage mode all day long. The fix is simpler than you think. For the first 30 minutes after waking, keep the phone face down. Don't check emails. Don't open social media. Don't react to anyone else's urgency before your own biology has had a chance to stabilize. Instead, drink a large glass of room temperature water with a pinch of sea salt and a squeeze of lemon. This rehydrates your adrenal glands, the very organs that regulate cortisol, and sends a chemical signal of safety to your nervous system. Control your morning. Control your body. Step 2. The 90-minute window, the adenosine-cortisol collision. Most people roll out of bed and reach for coffee before they've taken 10 steps. It feels logical. It feels necessary. It feels like the only way to start the day. But that single habit may be the most quietly destructive thing you do to your metabolism every morning. Here's the mechanism. While you sleep, your brain accumulates a substance called adenosine, the chemical signal responsible for making you feel tired. When you wake up, some of that adenosine is still circulating, Caffeine doesn't clear it, it just blocks the receptor, like putting tape over a warning light. The adenosine keeps building. And when the caffeine wears off 2 to 3 hours later, it floods back all at once, triggering a cortisol spike, an energy crash, and a powerful hunger signal that drives your body straight toward fat storage. The solution costs you nothing. Wait 90 minutes after waking before your first coffee. In that window, let your body clear the adenosine naturally, let your cortisol curve follow its healthy arc downward, and let your nervous system land before you stimulate it. When you finally drink that coffee, the energy will be cleaner, steadier, and longer lasting, with no crash, no cortisol spike, and no hormonal trigger telling your belly to hold on tight. Delay the cup. Extend the burn. Step 3. The thermal switch, brown adipose activation. Your body contains 2 types of fat. White fat stores energy, brown fat burns it. And deep inside your system, you have deposits of brown adipose tissue, metabolically active fat that generates heat by incinerating stored fuel, including visceral fat. The question isn't whether you have it. You do. The question is whether you're activating it. Here's what most people don't know. Brown adipose tissue responds to thermal stress, deliberate, brief exposure to cold or heat that signals the body to mobilize fat as fuel. This is why cold showers, ice baths, and traditional Japanese hot-cold bathing rituals like sento have been embedded in Japanese wellness culture for centuries, not for comfort, but for metabolic signaling. Even 30 seconds of cold water at the end of your morning shower is enough to trigger norepinephrine release, activate brown fat thermogenesis, and push your metabolism into a higher gear for hours. You don't need a cryotherapy chamber. You don't need a plunge pool. Finish your shower with 30 to 60 seconds of cold water. Uncomfortable enough to make you breathe deeply, but manageable enough to do every single day. That brief thermal jolt tells your nervous system the environment is demanding. Your brown fat fires up in response, and your body starts pulling from its visceral fat reserves to generate warmth. Brief discomfort. Long burn. Step 4. The post-meal reset, the cortisol-insulin convergence. Every time you eat, your blood sugar rises. Insulin is released to manage it. But here's what the textbooks don't emphasize. In people with chronically elevated cortisol, that post-meal insulin response is amplified, and it doesn't just manage blood sugar. It actively drives excess energy straight into visceral fat storage. This is the cortisol-insulin convergence, the moment after a meal when 2 powerful hormones collide, and your body makes a binary decision, burn or store. If you sit still, scroll your phone, or slump on the couch immediately after eating, that decision almost always goes one way. But clinical research has shown that a 10-minute walk after a meal blunts the post-meal blood sugar spike by up to 30%, reduces the corresponding insulin surge, and short-circuits the hormonal trigger before it can direct fat toward your abdomen. You don't need to power walk. You don't need to break a sweat. A relaxed, unhurried 10-minute stroll after lunch or dinner is enough. Outside if possible, at a pace where you feel loose and easy, not driven. That gentle movement clears glucose from your bloodstream through muscular absorption, keeps cortisol from spiking post-meal, and sends your metabolism a clear signal. Process this meal, don't store it. Walk it off. Keep it off. Step 5. The evening handoff, the cortisol-melatonin transition. Everything you've done during the day, the morning hydration, the delayed coffee, the thermal switch, the post-meal walk, all of it builds toward one critical biological moment that happens every single night, the handoff. The point where cortisol is supposed to fall and melatonin is supposed to rise. When that transition happens cleanly, your body repairs, resets, and burns fat while you sleep. When it doesn't, everything unravels. The Japanese have a word for the evening hour, yuyak, the time of the fading light, when the day releases its grip and the body begins its descent into recovery. In traditional Japanese culture, this hour is protected. The pace slows, screens dim. The nervous system is given permission to decompress, because they understood something that modern life has completely buried. The quality of your night begins hours before you close your eyes. Here's your evening protocol, and it's non-negotiable. 2 hours before bed, dim every light in your home. Warm tones only. No overhead fluorescence. Avoid screens if you can, or use blue light blocking glasses if you can't, because blue light suppresses melatonin and keeps cortisol artificially elevated well past midnight. Have a small, slow-digesting snack if you're hungry. A few walnuts, a spoonful of almond butter, something that stabilizes blood sugar overnight without spiking insulin, so your body can spend those sleeping hours doing exactly what you've been working toward all day. Protect the night. Complete the reset. This is your complete 24-hour Japanese cortisol reset protocol. 5 steps, 0 cost. Nothing to buy, nothing to cancel, nothing to overhaul. Just a precise sequence of small actions, Time to work with your biology instead of against it. Start tomorrow morning, and your body will feel the difference before the week is out. When you wake up, keep the phone down for the first 30 minutes and drink a large glass of water with a pinch of sea salt and a squeeze of lemon. Activate the cortisol awakening response in your favor, not against it. Wait 90 minutes before your first coffee. Let adenosine clear naturally, let your cortisol curve fall, and let your energy stabilize before you stimulate it. End your morning shower with 30 to 60 seconds of cold water. Trigger your brown adipose tissue, fire up thermogenesis, and set your metabolism running hot for the rest of the day. After every main meal, take a 10-minute walk, blunt the post-meal cortisol insulin spike and keep your body in burn mode, not storage mode. 2 hours before bed, dim the lights, slow the pace, and protect the cortisol melatonin handoff that makes everything else work while you sleep. 5 steps, morning to night. A complete hormonal arc, designed to keep cortisol low, fat burning high, and visceral fat nowhere to hide. This is not another diet. This is not another program. This is the protocol your body has been waiting for. The one that works not because it's extreme, but because it's precise. Start tomorrow morning. If you feel like your body is constantly stuck in alert mode, with poor sleep, fatigue, untimely hunger, and stubborn abdominal fat, I've prepared the complete Cortisol Reset bundle. Inside, you'll receive the main guide, the Cortisol Reset, plus 2 bonuses, low nighttime cortisol protocol and cortisol, insulin, and abdominal fat. The link is in the description.